Yeah, and I watched this movie a couple hours ago. And, well, I guess we both watched it a couple hours ago.
Yeah, because I messaged you at like 2 a.m. saying we were
Yeah,
watching
I
it
woke up and saw the message, and I was like, well, this is going to be a fun time.
again. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Pointless Discourse with myself, Apocalypse, and Payne.
This is me. I am Payne. Like Santa, but a horrible monster. That's the name of the Christmas fact.
Smooth. Let's get into it.
Because we always get a little bit later, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, I have to find that. And so I found one, and then I guess we can go into whatever we want to. But it says, we all know Santa knows if you've been naughty or nice, and brings presents to nice children. But what about those naughty children? Well, in Germany, they don't have to worry about Krampus. Oh, they have to worry about Krampus. The monstrous half-goat, half-demon creature said to kidnap bad children and take them back to his lair to eat. On December 6th, Krampusnacht, that's definitely how you say that, or Krampus night, so watch out. So, yep.
So Christmas. So if you're joining in and you're like, why are they talking about random Krampus-esque facts? It's because we watched a movie with a Krampus. Could use more Krampus, though.
Yeah, I will say, let's see. Okay, this is the second episode that comes out.
In December.
In December, yeah. For anyone wants to know, it's the first week of November.
We are on the ball.
Yeah, it's the farthest we've been ahead, and I can't wait till
We're
we
all
ruin
caught up
it.
again.
And we caught up, and we're just like, oh no. Yeah. My brain thought of something, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah,
Did I tell you? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if this is your first time here, this is a little bit newer, and I can see people stumbling upon this movie compared to the others because the poster is actually like a poster. I'm like, what is this? So, spoilers ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And if if you're not familiar, we are working our way through different holiday horror movies, where we started on Halloween, and we're watching through movies that start out with like Christmas air quotes to like Christmas bold. And this is a pretty bold Christmas.
I would, yeah, I would
Yeah.
say, I
Last
would
one was a little
agree.
bit weak, but
Well, the last one was Anna the Apocalypse.
oh no. Okay. Apologies. And an Apocalypse is very Christmas.
Oh, hold up. I don't know if you remember. I left this note because if you remember, in this one, you had to leave early because of house stuff in the middle of the recording.
Right.
And we were saying which one of, I think really the only question I can remember, I probably should have listened back to the episode, but to be honest, I still haven't edited it. And we recorded it back
In August.
in August. But do you
Time
remember
flies.
what character you wanted to be? I remember, but do you remember what character
We
you felt the
all
most
only
aligned
liked
with?
we all only liked one character,
We
so I
all,
think we all said the same answer.
yeah, the blonde one. The one that should have been
The one that
lead.
could sing very well
Yes.
in the musical.
The one that probably didn't have some sort of family connections to the writers and directors and casting. I don't know if that's true. It's just, it would make sense.
Yeah, but in any case, yeah, so
That's the only question I remember. And okay, I guess it's also safe to say, if anyone has listened to Anna the Apocalypse and they're like, why isn't the ending the same when this is like, that is the, what, 11th episode? The 11th? Yeah, no, the 9th movie in the series. Two reasons. Hop had to leave early, and Hop is the one that has the questions, even though I remember I could just type in Christmas into our Discord conversation.
it is also
find it.
our first recorded episode.
It's the first one where we were still in the we only had like 3 or 4 more episodes left of Gravity Falls to record, but Maddie, just her crazy school schedule, we wanted to get her in there. Like, it was like the perfect window of opportunity, and we didn't know if it would work out later, so like, let's just do it.
It's
We'll
ripping.
say it was weird to watch a Christmas movie in August.
It was. But I'm glad that Maddie got a movie that I think is pretty close to like Maddie.
Yes, out of all these movies,
I don't think I would
I
have
don't
made
know.
Maddie watch any of the rest of these.
I think it'd be funny to see her reaction of Jack Frost.
Uh-huh. But
I don't
okay.
know. There's a lot of these movies where it's just like, yeah, I'm glad the guest got the one that they did, even though some of them. Well, there's still one more guest.
I think
that
we'll be very happy with how that one turns out. Unless the
yes,
movie has an egregious message and has something on screen that is like a crime, I think we'll be fine. Because we've had borderline things where we're like, the guest was like, this was weird, but like, I get it, I guess. And we're like, okay, good.
thank goodness. Now,
What
have you ever
beat?
watched The Cell?
Mm.
That should be like whenever a guest is like, I don't know about this, we should be like, okay, okay. Have you seen The Cell?
Have you watched The Elf?
Yeah, it's
Uh,
Christmas Cell.
yeah, I told Strider like how we had rated The Elf. Not Elf Will Ferrell for everyone
Yes,
curious, but the Elf of 2017, I
17.
believe.
Sure.
16, 17.
I can find
Um,
out. One
and
sec. Yeah,
Strider
17.
Strider thought it was the funniest thing. He's like, "Wow, you watched a movie that made you rethink your scale of movies? That's impressive in its own sad way."
Listen here, Strider. I know you don't listen to the podcast, but we don't need this sass.
He meant it legitimately. Like, you
I
don't
know.
often watch a movie so bad that you're like, maybe I was wrong about movies. Maybe these are all better movies than I gave them credit for.
I will say, I am. It'll be because the Strider coming also to PAX Unplugged with y'all.
I think we're still
At least,
coordinating and figuring things out, but probably, yeah.
because it's always it cracks me up a little bit because it'll be like you will go and get information. Oh, I wanted to go see this game or whatever, and then Strider's like, yeah, I don't know, just I'm here for vibes. I like this game. If she likes it, I'll play it.
We are a simple dynamic.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I have any fun facts or anything to share with the audience. Again,
Um,
for context, D-Pain and I met like a handful of days ago to record The Elf. So that's why The Elf is fresh on the brain for me.
yeah, and I watched this movie a couple hours ago. And well, I guess we both watched it a couple hours ago.
Yeah, because I messaged you at like 2 a.m. saying that I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
do
woke up and saw the message, and I was like, "Well, this is gonna be a fun time."
it.
But I guess to ease into it, did I share? I can't remember if I shared it with you off camera or if we did record it. Uh, the my bread dream.
I don't know anything about this bread dream.
Okay, I couldn't remember if I mentioned it. So this is welcome to everyone. I don't get a lot of dreams, and a lot of people say it's because you don't remember them, which I don't know. It could be true. I'm tired of having the debate. But anyway, I had a dream that stuck out. Uh, for context, this week I was waking up in the 5 o'clock hour, to get to work a little bit early because we're in our rush season, and a little extra cash won't hurt, especially around now. But I woke up and well, like I this is how my brain works. I have to lie to myself all weekend saying that work starts at 6. So my brain is like, I gotta get up at 5 to get to work. And yeah. So anyway, I lied to myself all throughout then. I did wake up, but on Monday morning when I woke up at 3:32 in the morning because uh I had a dream that I went into somebody's house. Um I know the owner of this house was apparently a woman that I knew or a girl I knew. I don't know. But I don't remember who the person was. I remember I was in their house and I knew that they had like a date over. But I was over there to like in their kitchen making a sandwich. No, really wasn't any reason why, but like I was in there to where the date comes down and he's like, "Guy, what are you doing?" Like, this is ridiculous. And I'm like, I'm just making a sandwich. What are you talking about? Um, to where the guy increasingly became more and more angry at me for making this sandwich because I was turning into a bread man. And next thing I know, the whole world hated me because I was a bread boy.
So I said I didn't know this dream, but I did know this dream. But with the
Yeah, I was like,
context
I
of
can't
saying
tell you.
bread dream, I thought it
Uh,
was not the ending that you were spoiling, but it was relating to something else.
no, oh,
I think if you said sandwich dream, I would have said yes.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys heard me say this story on the recording before, well, you got it again because it's still the same week it happened. It's
And
still
there's gonna
fresh for
be
me.
and there's gonna be a week break too.
Yeah, not a strong break. Oh man. So, and all of that. I didn't really have any other fun dreams, but I also am glad that I wasn't awoken this week as I was awoken last week. And that one I'm just not going to share on recorded recorded time. In short, let's just say I think the neighbor I was sharing a wall with was reenacting one of the scenes in the movie.
Hey yo.
So we'll let the audience use their imagination because most of the scenes would require a cop a call.
Yeah. So I guess that's a good way to segue into we
Is it?
watched
Is
it's
it a
good
good
enough.
way?
We
It's
we
passable.
watched A Christmas Horror Story, and neither of us read the description to know it was an anthology.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of people all at once, but we did it.
Sounds
Um
like another. It's the sequel to Everything Everywhere All at Once. A lot of people all at once.
um it's interesting though that watching through this, I felt the way that I do when I read short story collection books, where I'm like, oh my God, the writer is good at writing. I don't like this story. Oh, this is so cool. I'm excited for the next story. Oh, never mind. I don't want this story.
There is like I think some of these stories I'm like I think I would have liked to see this into like a short film rather than like a 30-second segment. Like if
Yeah, like I said that to Strider. I said that I think it would have been almost better served rather than forcing these different stories, Christmas horror stories, into an hour and a half. And if like each one got like 20 minutes.
yeah, 20-25 minutes at most. So that would have been like say 50 20
I
minutes.
guess it
Well,
still comes out to an hour and a half. I think, but I think I would have preferred just watching them in like their entirety instead of having to go bump, 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 bump,
yeah,
bump, bump.
cuz like without knowing that's an anthology thing, I there is a little bit of connective thread, but I thought there was going to be more as my notes say.
Yeah, I was waiting for the How High We Go in the Dark connection,
Yeah.
and there wasn't. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, my expectations may have been a bit high. Because, to be honest, out of all the movies we've been watching, other than Anna and the Apocalypse and Black Christmas, a lot of
This
these
is
other movies
very
we've
well
been,
shot.
yeah, it's very well shot. It's thought out. It has enough in the plot without showing you too much to keep me wanting to be like, oh, I even went back and forth to double check something for myself because I was like, I think I know. And then I told Deepan I rewound to a certain part and then fast forward and I was like, okay, I know.
Mhm.
How does this work? What
Yep.
is the reveal?
Yeah. But I don't know, overall, well,
We'll
we're
get
going to
into it.
yeah.
First,
What
first
shall
we
we roll
roll
some di-
ourselves some dice. Mine are virtual because I refuse to go to my basement if I don't have to.
I'm going
I,
to roll the ocean dice.
I think you're
So,
gonna like this number. Let me know when you're ready.
yeah, okay, I rolled a 58. The internet's favorite number, 69. Meow, 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 meow. We need an air horn thing. Do you know they have sound effects in
Discourse.
Discord's?
Yeah, I get annoyed. So during D&D, I mute my players from using them. I
Yeah, my players muted me, so they can't hear me using it.
so it's funny that you mean those noises. I started playing Killer Frequency with some friends, and do you know what that is?
Is this the Lethal Company Killer Frequency? That sounds familiar.
So it's like you're playing as the host of a radio station, just like
Oh.
Will Shatner is in this movie. It's
Mm-hmm.
related, like Will Shatner, but you'll get like the phone calls for emergency help and you helping people. So when people say things, I'll hit the soundboard. So someone's like, "Oh no, something's happening," and it's like womp womp womp.
Womp womp womp.
So,
Team
uh,
17. They made that Dead by Daylight
yeah.
kind of
Is it Dead by
VHS.
Daylight or was it?
VHS. Oh, they wait. Hold up. Is this?
Because Team
They did
17 is the
Dredge.
production company,
Yeah,
right?
they did Dredge, Blasphemous, Escapists, Overcooked. Oh, they got some pretty neat titles in here.
Yeah, I like Killer Frequency. I haven't finished it yet. I want to say I'm probably getting close to the end chapter, but it loosely related because when I was explaining this movie to other people, I was like, Will Shatner is basically who we are, except in Killer Frequency, we're active in helping with emergencies, whereas William Shatner in this movie is just like an emergency. Oh no.
Yeah. Um. Okay. So, how about this? Like, since there's multiple stories, how about after our 30 minutes, we one of the questions we could say like, which ones would we want to see expanded? Like, would prefer to see like as like a 40 minute, 40 to 60 minute short.
That's fine. To make it easier, do you want to? I know the Wikipedia has it separated out like this. Do you want to go back and forth on giving like a quick one sentence on each of the stories? So like you can go first and
Okay,
do the
first story,
first
third
story. I'll
story,
do the
and you just
second.
yes. Oh, I got the gross one.
Oh, sorry, dude. The dice
uh,
spoke.
Yep, I know. Okay, so yeah, as we said, there's four stories. In the first story, a group of teenagers break into their high school where they find out that it used to be a convent, and they pretty much they go down there off of I believe last year there was a story of a couple that went down there, two teens that went down, and they both died, and they were like kind of doing like a documentary style
Found
like
footage.
yeah, like it looks like it would belong on like daytime discovery of
Yeah, I
of
was
the
thinking
way
of
they're
like Blair
recording
Witch
it.
Project kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, and so it pretty much shows them down there and getting haunted. And we'll get into all that fun later.
Yeah, so then we kick off the second story in which the tie to the first story is that the teenagers have kind of like found footage of police investigations from the previous year, and the cop in that was so stressed out about whatever he witnessed down there that he's on stress leave from his job. And then we follow around his family as they sneak onto a farm to cut down a Christmas tree, and their family's never the same.
Mm-hmm. The third story is about a family pretty much driving to meet their aunt. Well, the father's aunt,
Yeah, and I was just gonna
Etta.
say,
Oh,
the connection to the first story is the girl in this is dating one of the teenage boys that go
yes.
to the basement
Yep.
and gives him the keys.
Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say that.
Oh, sorry.
Taking my thing. And that's all good. But yeah, so that is how they're connected. And pretty much, they learn about Krampus, and this mythological creature, and they go home and they get a visit.
Then yes, that's fine.
Yeah,
And then for
on the way home, like not on their way home, they are visited.
there we go. I like that. So then we have the fourth story in which where we follow around a Santa Claus, which this is like the opening sequence where we have Santa Claus. And I think the reason why I thought it was all connected is because like the first shot of the
This
movie
opening scene, yes.
it does 12 hours earlier dot dot dot, which implies to me that like there's a thread. But anyway, regardless. But yeah, so we have Santa and he starts witnessing weird behavior with his elves and has to put them all out of their misery before they can kill him first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. And for anyone, if this is your first time or just haven't listened in a while, we are setting a 30-minute timer where it's pretty much open season for all spoilers and other stuff. So if this movie was on your radar to watch, pause, go and watch it and come back and hear our reactions.
See you in an hour and a half.
Yep. Yep. Bring some popcorn. I ate breakfast while watching it. And
I didn't eat today. Oops.
yeah. And which that will make the end of this episode real fun, as Hop's just like, as I'm closing, and Hop's like, okay, bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Itisdpayne. But anyway, I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1. Badoomp.
Where do we start? Do you want to start per story?
I want to start with the opening scene because the first line I wrote was like, this movie has some sort of budget. I hope it isn't used all in this opening sequence.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't. Yes.
It wasn't. We have been watching a lot of movies where the budget went to the wrong places. Compared to a lot of what we've been watching, again, exceptions being like Black Christmas and in the Apocalypse, and I guess for Necrotronic uses its budget throughout. This was like, I think the movie set up a lot of expectations in the very beginning for me that when it got to the second half, I was disappointed. I think that's why when I messaged you, I said, I don't know how to feel.
Okay. So, as we said, this is an anthology. All the stories are like kind of slightly, and neither of us knew what it was. So, what was it? Okay, so in the beginning of this, it shows like a bloodied Santa, like saying like, "Oh yeah, Blitzen, oh, you're my favorite. Let's go." But he's like got scars, blood all over himself. And it's like, "Well, hop him." And then like these doors are shining and like being pushed in, and it's very much like, "Oh, what's on the other side of the door?" And this bright light like flashes in, and he's just like, "You." And then as you said, the 12 hours earlier to where we see Kirk. Well, I wrote Kirk. I'm like, so this is what Kirk. Yeah, we see William Shatner. As I wrote, this is what Kirk is doing in his retirement. I also
wasted.
I also like to think, just knowing how he needed to have more lines than everybody in any episode or scene that he was in. I'm like, is this how they got him in there? That where he was the only one talking in his short story.
Story.
But he was just like, yep, and this is when we all celebrate the birth of Jesus. And then I wrote the line, is this going to end with Jesus fighting Santa for control of Christmas?
That would be funny.
Would have been a hilarious movie. But yes.
What I will say before we jump into all the stories is I don't know if it's because I see there's like different writers listed in the Wikipedia. I don't know if or what the agendas.
There's agendas.
That doesn't matter to me. Agendas of some of the writers were, because I got some like I think I mentioned this to you on the side. Like I almost got kind of like weird Cell vibes where I was like, is this propaganda at different moments? But we'll get into it whenever.
Yeah.
We get to the appropriate stories.
Yep. So, do we want to just what story do you want? Do we want to just get the teen one out of the way? That's the one that...
the teen one out of the way. This is the one where I was really confused on the messaging and purpose of this story.
Yeah, because it doesn't really fit. The only way it fits in the story... Okay, so like during the middle of this movie, I'll just say this because we're going to get to there, because we said there's spoilers. I'm like, okay, so we have a ghost, a Krampus, a possible doppelganger, which I was close, being freed. And I was like... This whole thing, because I didn't know it was an anthology, 4 different separate stories. I thought they were going to team up and go after Santa for being sealed. Oh my god,
that would have been so
it's
fun.
Like, I'm like hyping myself up. I'm like, this is cool.
And then it's like... X-Men of the anti-Christmas.
Yeah, and anti-capitalist Christmas. Take this, Santa. But no, it's just 4 different stories. And then I kind of got disappointed because after I wrote that, I looked and I saw I was only like, I was 2/3 through the movie, and the ghost is still in the basement. And I'm like, okay. Um, I will say the one thing that I thought was neat about the teen one is that it had some really decent shots. Like
It
the
was well thought out. I
yeah,
hate whatever the message of it is supposed to be. I was like, is this anti-abortion? Is it Catholic propaganda? Is it because it's so mixed because they like
it's anti-male. What are you talking
but
about?
it also they use the specific phrase war on Christmas. And I was like,
Hmm.
for me, that's a red flag for someone that's like a Karen that's like, you say happy holidays? This is the war on Christmas. Like it's a very particular group of people that say that. That's not something that people just say. So
Hmm.
that's why I was like, the context of this story, I think it's an anti-abortion ad, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's on. It's like
Also, I don't know why nuns would do an abortion anyway. Sorry.
yeah, and then I don't know. It was like kind of rapey. Like
It was like it's like a half consent.
yeah,
It's very uncomfortable. It lasts way too long, and like so for context of everything. So like I said, it's an anti-abortion ad is how I'll put it, because the context of the story is the place is haunted and there's a couple that died there in this particular room. They open one of the doors, and for some reason, for however many years,
that
there's bright
annoyed
red
me.
blood on an abortion chair
Yeah,
in the basement of the convent. A convent I don't believe would
that
ever
is
have
on. That is underneath the school.
was underneath of the high school. But in any case, so they show that imagery, and then there's a phrase that they paint onto the wall that's like,
Unto him a child is born. It's
yeah,
Isaiah. They say what verse it is, but it's the prophecy of Jesus being born, virgin birth in Isaiah.
yeah. So then they start to have flashbacks about this. Oh, the other thing I do appreciate about this movie, they actually did horror elements in this movie.
Yes, yeah. Even though I'm like this is the one, the teen one is not the one I liked the most. It there's like a whole scene where they're in like where they store the nativity like things.
And it's creepy.
They
It's got
yeah
good atmosphere.
yeah like it's the darks are like it's just I constantly was waiting for those stupid mannequin like nativity figures to like move.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot more jump scares, but they did a very good job of just little subtle things. Like when the kid with the headphones is like, "Do you guys hear that?" Because they make comments about
Yes.
singing. And then he walks away and the girl's there, and then he turns around and it's empty. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on?
Oh yeah,
But
like pacing wise, like it was. I think for the most part, most of these movies were these sections were
shorts.
paced well,
Yeah.
but I think it's strengthened by the fact we're swapping between four different stories.
Yeah. So then it has good like little cliffhangers enough to keep you wanting to know what's gonna happen. It's
Hmm.
kind of like books with multiple perspectives or multiple timelines you're kind of jumping
Yeah.
through. But in any case, yeah. So then they say like a 15-year-old girl, blah blah blah, died of a gruesome abortion done by two nuns at the bottom of a convent. Anyway, I mean I could be mistaken, but I don't think they whatever. In any case, so then we have the couple that dies, and then the girl gets possessed by the ghost and proceeds to seduce her two guy friends that she invited down there to help her like do a school project.
Hmm.
One of them was like, "I have a girlfriend," and she went,
Yeah.
"Murder." And
It,
then,
murder by crucifix.
and then the other one was like, I know you've always wanted this. Clearly preying on somebody because in the beginning of the movie, they don't act romantic towards each other. They act like
Yeah.
friends. Like they act like teenagers. That's the other thing I liked. Everyone in this movie acted like people, which
Hmm.
we haven't seen in a little while.
Yes.
Um, they seem like a normal teenage like friend group, and then he being a teenage boy is like, oh, okay. And then they have it's too long of a scene for me personally as an adult having to watch like teenagers. There's nothing shown, but it's so implied that it's basically shown.
Hmm.
And then the part that made me the most uncomfortable and made my skin crawl was when the girl goes, "What are we doing?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Ah!"
Yeah. It's like that whole thing. It's like we know you're possessed, and then it was like Wow. The ghost was like, okay, did what I needed, and it was just like,
She hit her checkbox.
yeah. And then it was just like,
I don't know why she killed him though. Because the
uh,
ghost proceeds to kill um
I think it.
the deliverer of the package that she wants.
I think because there's a line in the beginning of that section where they're talking about like back in the day, women would claim there was virgin births, so without like for whatever, and it's like I think that's what they were kind of going towards a little bit of like, okay, yeah, if no one knows that we banged, it's like, oh yeah, I was conceived, virgin birth, and it's like, yeah,
I also
it's
really hated the scene of her with her like her ghost makeup was the weakest makeup of the whole movie, and they spent a lot of time on her face, and then they made her hold a dead baby
mm-hmm.
for uncomfortably too long as she just stared at this boy as she crucified him to
Yeah.
be a ghost.
And then like she points like at the belly like, "Oh, okay, you did what I wanted." And then
You're
like
free to go.
she just leaves, and then as she's leaving, she starts humming a Christmas carol. I don't remember which one, but
Yeah,
it's
I don't
like
remember which one.
but yeah. But yeah.
Am I wrong in like the vibes I got from that, or can you
No,
see?
it's
Okay.
like now that you're right, I was like I could definitely see it, but it was just like it I don't know. It felt like okay, in horror movies, people got a bang, so it fits in here because everyone else in these movies are related. uh,
Yeah.
also, I think if they had Santa do any of that, that would have been a no for a Christmas movie. But as we said, like theme wise and everything, it's like
It's weird.
yeah, like I don't know if the fact that it's just like they were portraying teenagers, which like made me like very uncomfortable doing this, but I don't know. I think the whole concept, even if they were like college students, I still wouldn't have been a fan because it's
No,
like,
because like you said, it's lacking a lot of consent because she didn't ask to be possessed. And then
yes,
the boy's like, "Oh, you did this on purpose." And she doesn't deny it. And I'm like, I feel like she should say, "I didn't know this was gonna happen."
and I kind of chalked that up a little bit to like her putting the pieces together a little bit of like everything because like he's like you made me do it and all this stuff, and then it was like before she could like because I don't know, I never seen anybody get possessed and unpossessed, but it was like it sounds like she's trying to put the pieces together in her head, and then she's like, "Wait a second, no, don't go down there because that's where Buddy Boy is." And what was it? There was all that, and then oh, what there was, but like there was something else in that scene that now like um, I can't remember, but it's like she kind of knew what was happening, but at the same time, I'm just like, I don't know. It was like there's like a certain scene where it's like a shot that they do. It's when she's possessed, like they're all sleeping in there, and the way she wakes them up is like flashing the light in their eyes. And then it was like the way the camera's set up, I'm just like, okay. Well, we know what's happening here. I will say,
The shot with the chair when she brings the chair out, and I was like, "Ah, what is she doing with this chair?"
yeah. And
Oh,
it's
and
like
she kept hiking her skirt up.
hiking the skirt up, but then it's like the camera's a low angle between her legs towards him. It's
Hmm.
like, yeah. But I will say the thing that can, I think the most unbelievable thing about that wasn't so much the ghost, but the fact that those three candles had that big of a flame on them and could light up that amount of room.
When they were complaining it was dark and cold and the heater wasn't working and all this
Yeah.
different stuff.
But they had
Oh,
water.
I did have a moment of symbolism that I realized that I didn't think about until now, because again, I
Hmm.
watched this at like 1 a.m. was the Dylan kid, the one that
Yeah.
she
The one's like,
doesn't.
I got a girlfriend.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, are you cold? Let's take this off of the nativity scene and use it as a blanket." And then she wrapped it around her head, very much like the way that most people depict Mary
It's
Magdalene.
also Um, it's also they took it off the Mary mannequin.
Specifically her. Okay.
Um, yeah. Um, okay. I want to just say this now. Do we want to go through each story because that took up half our time? Do we want to just talk about each story rather than stick
Yeah.
to the 30-minute time
Yeah, let's just
slot?
go through each story.
Because they're short enough. So yeah, because I'm like, we're gonna run out of time. Like I don't know. Some of them I think are gonna go a little faster, but like
The
I
last
kind of
one I think will.
yeah, and I don't know. I kind of like the little deep dives on each one. So do we just want to go in order as they're written here on the
I'm totally
Wikipedia?
cool with that, yeah.
Okay. Second story, though, I this was neat, but I was
I
like, this. I'm like, I'm watching Get Out.
I
Is
didn't
that
I
Get
haven't
Out?
watched Get Out, so I can't
Sorry,
say that
no.
for sure.
Hold up, let me. No, isn't it one of the ones, or was it Nope? Hold
We
on, which
watched
one was
Us.
Us? Yes, that's. I was like, I was getting Us vibes watching this one.
For me, I this was my favorite story minus the implied incest.
Oh yes, yes. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh yes,
Yes.
but it. I don't know. I very early. Okay, so like, um, that was not
It
very.
wasn't necessary to the story.
It wasn't necessary, but at the same time, it was like. So they go, as Hop was saying, they cut down a Christmas tree. It's the cop and everything, um, and they kind of break into a place to go
Yeah,
do it.
and the people that break into the place, it's the mother, their son that's maybe what, like 7-ish, and then the cop
Yeah,
dad.
between 6 to 8, I would say. I'm trying to see. It doesn't really
You can find
say.
that.
Um, but yeah, pretty much they cut a tree and they're walking through, and then like
It
kid
said no
just
trespassing
yeah
also.
yeah, and so they're walking back with the tree. Mom and dad are like, yeah, this is cool, high fives, and then kid disappears. And then they find him in the like hollow of a tree, and as soon as this kid came out, I'm like, that's not Will.
He has
Um,
like the yeah, in the beginning of the story, he's got his inhaler, he's trying his best to keep up. He has a kid's face. Like he looks like
yes,
he's on an adventure. And the kid that comes out
is not him,
is
but
an
it
AI
it is
generated
him.
child.
Yeah. Um, but
It
yeah,
doesn't
it. Oh,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna just say it doesn't know how to facial expression.
Yes. Um, but yeah, it's like that kid. Like he was definitely the star of that. Like he, like yeah, the parents definitely like were doing all the acting and everything, but it was like that kid. The kid's like if he wasn't able to pull off this just the like scenes that he was in
hmm
the way he did it like
I
it
hope they
wouldn't
got
have been
that
the
kid
same.
therapy afterwards.
uh yeah, so let's find out what's his name again. Go to
Are you
IMDb.
gonna look up are you did so and so go into therapy after this?
There we go. Orion John. He's apparently an invincible. Oh no, why is oh, this is an ad.
Bamboozle.
um uh he's in one episode of Flashpoint and then one episode of another show called In Contempt. So it looks like I don't know. He also has a couple years in between any of his roles. So um, yeah, he hasn't done anything since 2018. So yeah, it sounds like his parents aren't forcing him to be in everything. Anyway, yeah. So they bring him home. Kid's acting weird and everything, and then like the dad, what's his name?
Scott.
Scott. He has like kind of the same thing as the dad from Jack Frost, where definitely is traumatized from a case that happened pretty much a year ago for him. Still has the case file and everything, and is like this intruder. Pretty much is like in the house, like okay. um, oh, there was one thing I wanted to say about the first movie that relates to this one. Or
Hmm.
the first story compared to this one. So in the first one, while they're in the car, they show a scene like of cop footage that they have,
Hmm.
where you see Scott in there. He's like on the camera and everything, and they find the first dead body of the teen guy, like splayed out like he's on a cross on the wall, and then it's just like, okay, cool, and then it's like, oh man, this is weird, and then it's like the girl like falls from the
Hanging from the
ceiling,
ceiling.
but it plays this scream sound effect. I'm like, was that the cop screaming or was it the girl?
Someone, the camera person, or
Yeah,
yeah.
which also begs a question of why did the girl die too if the ghost just wanted to like get a girl pregnant and then let her go? Like, is this just something that happens
The
normally or just did it not
the
take?
redhead said they both refused.
Oh, did it? Okay. I missed that line. That would make sense. So, any poops, moving on. Yeah, there's like I think it is an interesting thing where it's just like I don't know. I felt bad for Scott because it's like you can tell he's trying to still deal with stuff like from this case, and he's still like he's not like a bad guy, like or like a bad father or anything. It's just like just the shift of characterization of Will, of like pretty much he is a whole nother person, and he's just like I think just in this one scene, like the whole scene, it isn't until like the end when like Will, Doppel Will starts like really acting up
Hmm.
that like he's trying to punish like Will for doing this, where he's not communicating, he's doing all this stuff, he's not listening to his mother, and the mom's just like yells at Scott pretty much to be like, no, don't do this, step away, and then it's like blames that he hasn't like left the case or anything.
No, she says, "I told you to go to a doctor, and you
Yeah, that's at the
refused."
end. It's the very yeah, at the end of his part. But it does say like he did take time off and everything, like from active duty and stuff. So I don't know. It's like he didn't go to a doctor, but what did he do in that time off anyway? But it's um yeah, the Doppel Will was creepy. Where it's just like okay, don't know why that's what they wanted to do, but yeah, they did that, and then in short, it's like they imply that the changeling, which is what is revealed, is a group in the mom, but it's also their kid, which is like
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah, they could have
Um,
used a monster hand and it would have made me feel
yeah,
better.
but no,
Because
it was his hand, which I'm like, what the heck?
that's a kid. That's a child.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, yeah, I think the pacing for this one was the best one. I think it had the best use of horror elements, and
Mm-hmm.
I liked the ending of this one the most.
Yes. I it was a little bit for me. The only confusing part about the ending with this one was like the big dude, Big Earl. He was like, they fear me, and he's just like yelling at them all and everything. And it made it sound like the only reason the changelings aren't like running rampant is because he's kind of holding them back.
Hmm.
And then she kills him, and then it's like, oh well, we had to change the heart. Here's
No,
like
what I took it as to being is you killed our oppressor, so
yeah,
you
it
have your
like I could
son.
see both. Yeah, it's without knowing like the whole purpose of Big Earl. Like it definitely comes off with like that as you said it, where it's just like because he does throw in a line. It's just like
They're
she's,
scared of me. They know that I can control them.
but there's pretty much she tells him like, hey, you bring back the changeling, you can have Will back, and then she does that,
He's like, I don't know where your
and
kid
he's like, I
is.
don't know where your kid is, and it's just like that's not up to me, and it's just like you freed us, so here's your kid.
Yeah.
we're not giving his jacket back or his pants.
They're cold in there in those trees.
Yeah. Well, so is Will. Like out in the cold.
It is whitey tighties.
Yeah. Um but yeah, there was a couple of scenes that I thought were pretty cool. Where I like the one where it's like there was a section in there. So like the dad's reading at the table. You can see Will standing out there, and they put like contacts or something in his eye, or like kind of something where it looks like his eyes are shining, and then he like disappears like as the camera moves, and he's not there as the dad is going there. But in that scene, he has a gun on his table, his dinner table, as he's looking through this case, and I'm like, he's gonna get shot. He's gonna get shot. It's what's gonna happen. And then it's just like, I was paying so much attention to be like, okay, gun's still there. Okay, the gun's there. It's like, ain't one well. And yeah, so all that happens, and then it cracked me up because he's like, he pours himself another drink, and then it's just like he's crawling on the ceiling. I'm like, Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know you said you got Us vibes. I got Hereditary vibes a little bit
I
more
could see both. Yeah,
because of the way that they used really subtle, out of focus shots to just have like the changing version of Will just be weird. And then like also the escalation of emotions, because I rewatched Hereditary with a friend a little bit ago, and kind of like the scene around the kitchen table where the mom's like, I'm a good mom, you're a shit son. Feels
Mm-hmm.
like the same kind of energy that the mom and the dad were having in this, where it was
Mm-hmm.
like, you don't know what you're doing as a parent. And he's like, did you not see what he did? Are you gonna listen to me?
Yeah. It I mainly was getting Us vibes at the beginning because of the swap, and that's isn't yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, the mom, except
The
like
girl
the
goes missing in the maze.
yeah, and it's just one had 30 odd years to adjust. But I could see both. Yeah, like you bring that like that viewpoint, I could definitely see. And then I can't move on from this because one of the things I busted out laughing was when Changeling Will runs at the mom and she just cracks him in the head with the bat. I'm like,
It was so funny because yeah, she swings and then she just slams into him like 6 times, and I was like, that must have been satisfying as an actress to like, because
and
she
it
put her all into hitting him in the ground.
oh yeah, and it didn't look like um the elf. Eek. It's like, I don't know, like I'm like, this can either go one of two ways. She loses or she wins, and then it was like boom. I'm like, oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
and I think, and again, like the actors did such a good job because the guy was like, it's not gonna come willingly, you can't be a threat. And she has the bat,
Yeah.
she's crying, she's like, come on, we're gonna go for a ride, it's gonna be fine. And the changeling is like, that's a bat.
Yeah, he's like, really? But it's like at the same time, it's like there's no way you're gonna convince that thing. Your husband's there,
He's
dead.
eating his hand.
Like, well, he's trying. I thought he was trying to get the wedding ring off,
Oh yeah, he was playing with it, but
playing with it.
the
Was
guy
he
also
eating
makes
it?
the comment
Oh,
that like he's tasted human flesh, so he's not gonna come back willingly or something like
oh,
that.
okay. Yeah, I missed that. Missed that line. But no, that's like that was a lot of really neat things in there. Anyway, well,
On to the
third,
last one.
it's third. Well, I guess third and fourth kind of are connected a little bit.
Oh, well, I guess yeah, second to last one. Third one is
Krampus,
yeah.
which it's a Krampus thing. It's like I like the indication of what Krampus is compared to how it's portrayed in other movies.
Yeah, so like this Krampus it was funny story. It's like, how's the movie? I was like, oh, Krampus reveal. He's like, oh, I thought people usually like the Krampus movies. I was like, oh, this isn't Krampus. It's just Krampus is a very popular Christmas horror
Yeah,
figure.
Krampus also looks like he belongs in Mortal Kombat in this movie.
He's buff.
He's
Um,
jacked.
and not very hairy at all.
Yeah,
Most Krampuses I see are kind of more goat, less man.
like this one learned about waxing.
Yes, he was very smooth. But
There
yeah,
wasn't
so
really the only goat. He was more like
he had
a
horns
white. Yeah, yeah. And I was
and
saying
those
like, I guess like he looked like a white tiefling.
for yeah, for D&D players I could see tiefling, but he had like the goat
Did he have
nose.
hoofs? I
I don't
wasn't paying
believe
enough
so.
attention. Let's see.
Because he has the
No,
chain whip.
yeah, no, he's got Uggs.
Uggs.
Oh yeah, I can see the
So
goat nose. But
this
yeah.
one this story I think had a I did not care for any of the characters, which on one hand like had it lower expectations, but then the ending ended up so good that it like made me like the story more. Like I didn't like three-quarters of this story personally, because I think I made a
Mm-hmm.
comment to you about another story I read where it felt like we're rich white people with rich white people problems.
Yeah.
And then the last quarter of it, I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
this one, like D Payne introduced earlier, we're following a family who has the last minute, like, oh, we're gonna go see our aunt. And he decides to talk to her about money. And then his two children and his wife are extremely like spoiled and like are taking everything for granted. And the son breaks a like Krampus figurine and like was it like a caretaker on the land?
Yeah. I don't think they were married. It didn't seem that way, but it definitely seemed like either a helper, or a maintenance person. Someone
Hmm.
hired by Aunt Edna. I'll see if there's any information on and Geralt
Geralt, yes, Gerhardt. Oh,
Gerhardt.
it does say in the wiki, irritate Edda's caretaker,
Okay,
Gerhardt.
who
But
looks
yes,
almost the same age as her.
yeah. So then we have the spoiled kid, who I think is like the main guy in the Wednesday Netflix adaptation. But anyway,
I never watched it, so.
uh, but yeah, so he like purposely like breaks things to piss the people off, and Gerhardt is like, um, Krampus comes for kids like you. And then the girl like steals like a lighter. And we hear earlier in the movie that she's a bit of a kleptomaniac because she just wants to, right?
Mm-hmm.
This movie I also thought, or this little short story also had weird messaging, but I'll get to it in a second. Anyway, they get denied money, they get kicked out of the house, they get sent home, and then when they're driving home, some bright white figure runs past the car and they crash.
Frosty.
Hmm?
Frosty.
The Frosty, not again. So then they go into the woods and go, it's a half-hour walk back to Aunt Edda's. We're gonna go back that way, to which there's like booby traps, or it looks like
Mm-hmm.
booby traps at first, because they're just walking and he's holding a flare and he just gets like gut shot, and everyone's like, "What? What is happening?"
Yeah.
And then they go, "Duncan, don't do it," and Duncan's like, "I'm doing it."
Yeah, and then we learned Duncan deserved it.
Yeah, so he picks up a flare, gets taken away, and the family runs off to a church because the dad is bleeding out the gut, and they're like, "We're not gonna make it till morning." The daughter's like, "What if Krampus is real? We have to hide out because he's gonna come for us because we're bad people." And the dad's like, "You're right. We're gonna confess to our sins in the church." The
Mm-hmm.
dad admits that the company he's been bragging about throughout the short story is fake, and he's been embezzling money. So he needs more money from the
I
aunt to
did it
keep it
for
afloat.
you. You needed a
Yeah.
good life.
The wife is like, "Well, you're cheating on me." He's like, "No, I work so much so I could give you money." She's like, "Oh, I thought you weren't into me." She never confessed the sin, right? I
Yeah,
don't think
that
she
I
did.
she never she
She's
dies.
perfect.
No.
And then the daughter is like, your son is a serial killer in the making." I was like, "Where is this coming from?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"What are you talking about? Duncan's a good boy. He was provoked." She's like, "Remember the day our cat went missing?" I was like, "I don't want to hear about this."
Yeah, it's like that should have been a bigger thing.
Yeah, it should have been scolded more. And then the messaging that I got that was weird for me is the girl goes, "I'm not like all the other teenagers. I don't have sex or do drugs or cut myself like you think I do, Mom. I just do petty theft." And I was like, "What?
That
Where did
opening of the
this line?"
movie suggests that she be not just not not abstaining from sex. That there was
From the beginning, the very
yeah,
beginning scene,
the
yeah.
very beginning it felt like, and it was implying that Oh, they very much partake. If they're doing that in
Um,
public and like right next to their friends,
and
also in
behind their
front
parents'
of,
car.
yeah, while they're all sitting there. It's like, really now?
Anyway, but yeah, so
Are you sure about that?
she has that line to which Krampus yoinks the dad out the window.
Yeah.
And then you have the mom and daughter hiding in a confession booth, and then the mom going, "Run for your life, go back to Edda's, I'll fight off Krampus." And
Before Krampus is like licking them through the floor.
Mom, there's something at my feet.
Yeah, I don't know why they needed a light for that.
Yeah, and then mom fights off Krampus, and then the girl goes back to the
Edna.
aunt, and I
Uh,
liked this reveal. Like
this
I thought
this yeah made the whole
this like
section.
5 minutes is like the best part of this whole short story. Um, she confronts Aunt and goes, "I figured it out." She's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I figured out that you sent my piece of shit of a family out as bait so your stupid butt would still live
Oh,
after
oh no,
this."
no, it's not like that. No.
She's like, "You put the cross on the door so that Krampus wouldn't come after you." Huh.
No.
Oh yeah, because in the beginning she's like, "Oh, should we fix the ornament to re-trap Krampus?" Because that's what she thinks. Which because the
Yes.
aunt makes like a big deal about this figurine, and the aunt's like, "Oh no, no, no! It takes over people when their spirit is so dark they turn into a Krampus." So she's like, "That was Gerhardt," and she's like, "No,
No, you stop. You don't know what you're doing, which also doesn't make sense because it's like if the cross on the front of the door was supposed to say Krampus out, then in theory she shouldn't have become Krampus.
maybe it's
Is
one
it
of
only
those.
physical?
Maybe it's like vampires. She's already in the
She's
house
already infected. Yeah,
anyway." And then Krampus 2.0.
yeah. Which is still same Krampus. It's not. It's still the which I could totally understand. Like if you put that much detail and everything into a Krampus, it's like
Keep the
yeah.
same costume.
Mm-hmm. Um,
I thought you meant same Krampus as that was she was secretly Krampus the whole time. I was like, how did she lick her own foot underneath the
secret tunnels.
Yeah. And then it cuts off there, which I think is a very good way to end that bit.
Yeah. Um, it's
And the
funny because
final
there's
one.
revealing mistakes where it's like a red gasoline can is named gasoline, which is the only correct spelling in the Haitian Creole. And it's like, I don't know why that's revealing mistakes. Like, I'm pretty sure a red can next to a gas powered thing. It's like, okay, you be nitpicking now. And then the last one is Shatner just kind of talking on a radio for 4/5 of the movie, and then it's like of how he's like revealing like pretty much his weatherman who super hates Christmas has to go down to the mall and everything, and they keep trying to get in touch with them, and then it slowly reveals that there's like a hostage situation and like a murder happening down there, and it's revealed. Well, do you want to reveal it, Hop, since you had to do a little movie investigation?
Did I do a movie investigation on this one?
This is
Oh
when
yeah,
you
yeah, I did say
rewinded.
I did the fast forward rewind. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So basically, yeah, we have the opening shot with the Santa, and then throughout the film we have little tidbits of Santa explaining apparently the elves are never supposed to die, yet one of them dies, and that
Mm-hmm.
they notice the elves are starting to become like belligerent. Again, the messaging of this part of the movie confused me because for some reason the elves all had to say like the most crass things, like while they're laying there dying.
And it
He's
wasn't
like,
Cottonhead and any muggin.
yeah, he's like, "You motherfucker, let me eat out your Christmas." I was like, stop talking."
Oh wait, there's a line before it's So I wrote this line. It's the one the part where Santa is fighting in the basement and like he's just getting mobbed by like all these elves from all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the workers are finally fighting back for all those unpaid hours, and then the like reveal at the end. I'm like, you know, wasn't far off.
Uh, Anyway, yeah. So then these supposed zombies of infected elves are running around, and he tries to tell his wife like get somewhere safe, I'll take care of this. And he's like saying that he's so sorry that it's happening and he has to put them out of their misery, but like it must be quote unquote his doing. And then it fast continues through, and there's a whole bunch of fight scenes and stuff. Again, it all looks cool. I just really hated the way that the elves were made to like say like sniveling like gross things. Again, like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel. I get it. They have teeth and they're bloody and they're coming to eat you. Like you don't need to have them say like crass things to emphasize that they're the bad guys in this
Yeah.
perspective.
Visually, it did it enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Mrs. Claus ends up getting changed, and then he even has to be like, "Okay, I'm the bigger man. I'm still gonna kill her." And I'm like, when does it end? What is this resolved
Yeah.
to based on the beginning? And then we get the slow reveal of the person that kicks through the doors is Krampus. We don't know which Krampus, but it is a Krampus.
I like to think it's the Krampus from the third story. It's whatever her name is.
Caprice.
Caprice.
Yeah,
Caprice Sun.
my favorite shot of the fight between the Krampus and the Santa, which is the poster of the film, and it's really just like the last it's like a minute movie. But my favorite scene from that is when he breaks off his horn and it shatters into ice. That was
Yeah.
cool. That was really cool. But yeah, but then there's like a moment of like clarity where the Krampus goes and says the name of the weather forecaster, Norman, and he goes, Norman, don't kill me. And then the
Hmm.
guy like blinks, and then you see what looks like a guy in like Christmas getup for like a mall setup. And then they zoom out and pan out and reveal that it is Norman, the weatherman who hates Christmas, who has got an
He's
axe in hand.
yeah. And then it kind of does a fast like replay of like all the significant like elf
Elf
deaths
killings.
and Mrs. Claus and everything. Yeah. That one's kind of just straightforward.
Yeah, it ends with the police coming in to end the hostage situation, and then the radio host just going like, "Huh, Christmas here sucks."
Yeah. And then during the credits he like goes on saying more of it's just him drinking. I Part of me just wonders if they just gave William Shatner like, here's a bottle of alcohol, you're a radio host, here's the scene, just go. And
Here are
he
the
just
major bad events in
yeah,
this town.
and he just keeps getting more and more uh drunk as he
I didn't
keeps.
listen to the credits.
It's like it's not even like that big. It's more him just like, I can't remember, but it's more ranty.
Okay.
Um, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
so we told these as like sections of stories,
They're
but
all mixed.
the movie structure is what, maybe like 10 to 15 minutes each, and then like
Yeah,
hop, 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 hop.
yeah. It because it in the beginning it's very much all together, and then it's like
It branches.
yeah, pretty much after the 20-minute mark. Because like I remember, I wrote we are 20 minutes in and I feel like there's way too many plots going on, which totally makes sense that
For
it's
an
a stupid
anthology.
anthology. Yes. I was so like, I'm like, because they, in the beginning of the movie, they want you to believe everything's connected. And then by the end of the movie, none of them are, except for
Only in like they happen to be in the same town.
same town and
They know
everything.
each other ish.
Yeah. Which, I don't know. It's, the William Shatner one is like a little bit, not confusing, but it's like, it's the only one where there isn't really a supernatural element. Like all the other ones have supernatural elements and everything, and then this one's like, no, a guy just went crazy, and it's like, hold up, it's like, okay,
Yeah. But
so
all right. Before this episode runs for much longer than it already has, let me ask you some questions.
do we want to say which ones we would like to see
That's the
become?
first
Oh,
question.
okay. I didn't know if that was being added in.
I said yes.
Yeah, I it's been an hour. I didn't know if it slipped. I forgot and then I remembered. um, I think the few that I would like to see as kind of like, as we said, a 40 to 60-minute film, it would definitely have to change some stuff. I think just the Santa bit, like, of him killing, like, I don't know. I thought it would be an interesting thing of, like, a zombie, like, that whole concept of a zombie attack on Christmas, like, or on Santa. I'm like, I don't know. That seems like it is a setting and it could
Hmm.
happen. They would have to tweak a few things where there aren't, like, the infection isn't a mental mind break. But, like, I don't know. I thought that, like, be a fun, like, more action oriented thing, and it could still be Krampus, like, as it's portrayed in here, like
Right.
Krampus coming in and all that stuff. And so, like, I don't know. I think that part. But the other side is, like, I think it would be interesting to have a movie. I think it, like, the perspective of how William Shatner was, like, the radio host and he's just getting updates. And I think, personally, I think it'd be an interesting movie of it was just that side. And like, the whole, like, it's him, Susan, maybe, like, a couple other people, is, like, how he's having, like, a normal Christmas event. And then he's slowly given this news and he has to keep saying it over the, like, and that's how we get revealed. And he's, like, having more scenes of, like, him to break. He's like, what's going on? Like, is Norman, is our crew okay? And it's like, oh, and it's, I don't know. I think that might be another interesting perspective where it's like, we don't see the mall at all. It's all
Hmm.
told from the radio studio. And it's like us, like, being just as they're given piece information. It's like, and while he has to be, like, a professional host, like, on the air to, like, oh yeah, we're doing that, trying to keep up the Christmas cheer while, like, slowly being fed this terrible information that's happening to him. I don't know. I think that'd be another
I think
interesting
you'd
story.
I think you'd really like the game Killer Frequency then. Because Killer Frequency setting is you're a radio host and you're
Mm-hmm.
just getting calls and you're stuck in the studio. You don't know what's happening outside of like the studio.
So yeah, I don't know. I thought those two, like, I thought both those halves of the stories would be interesting. And then, well, how about you? I don't want to take them all up.
So I think I'd like the Changeling story extended out and brought out a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more. While I like the reveal for the Krampus origin story, I think it's the perfect length. I
Yeah.
think any longer and I would get really tired of being around that family and I wouldn't like enjoy like the reveal could be great, but it would be way too like strung out at that point.
I think if it was going to be just the Krampus one, it would have to be, like, a family Christmas get together where it's not just that family. It's like,
Different characters
it's,
interacting with
yeah,
them.
there's, like, between, like, 10 different, like, characters or something like that.
Gotcha. And then but yeah, otherwise I think I don't know if I'd necessarily love the zombie elf story only because like I think at the length it is, it's a cool set of like action sequences.
Mm-hmm.
But I always have personally, whenever I watch zombie movies, I think it's hard for people to balance out the zombie and the human part of it. So like from what I stopped watching The Walking Dead a long time ago, but I know a lot of people said like The Walking Dead started to become
Mm-hmm.
like a drama show at a certain point and the zombies were just like an obstacle. And then
Yeah.
there's other things that I've watched where zombies, it's just like it's so many zombies that I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
What was it? Z or whatever. Daisy.
Oh, where they're climbing on top of each
Yeah.
other. World War Z.
World War Z. Um, no, I can definitely. I agree with that. It's like, it's
It's tricky.
both. Yeah, it would definitely need tweaking. It's like, I don't know. Like, I think the concept of there, like, a problem on Christmas Eve, and it could even be Krampus, like, related as well, where it's like maybe not even zombie. Like, I think that would be, like, I don't know, a fun, like, action film where it's
Hmm.
like, because in the portrayal of it in there, it is very, like, a serious tone, but it's like, I don't know, imagine it was like a Die Hard theme, but it's like we're following Santa trying to, like,
Yeah, I guess the other thing is the Santa portion for me, I thought it took itself too seriously for what it was.
yeah,
Like I understand
it
why the
fits within the
changeling
context, but yeah.
yeah. like I understand like the Changeling story is a very serious story, and the Krampus
Hmm.
story, I think that one did a good job of being like kind of like self-deprecating, but like serious
Yeah.
because of the way that the family talks to each other. But I thought the Santa one, where it's like him like I'm Rambo and these are my like people
Yeah.
I have to kill. I was like, you could like tone it just down a little.
Yeah. But like the reveal like of it's not actually Santa is
Yeah,
like,
that part makes sense.
yeah, it makes sense within the context, but it's just like I don't know. Like I seeing
If it
how
was
that's the
like,
selling point.
yeah, if it toned it down a little bit and made it more of a tongue-in-cheek action thing, then I think it would
Yeah.
be a very fun traditional Christmas movie to watch with people as like, all right, we watched like the sad Christmas movie, now let's watch something that's
Yeah.
fun
Goofy.
as a family.
Yeah. So now I'm just imagining like Santa's like killing people, and then all we hear is like, and there's no. Oh, what's the song they sing? I put one foot in front of the other one.
Oh, from our classic
Yeah. Um.
claymation movies.
Yeah. Um.
Wonderful.
But yeah. So, but no,
Yep.
that's
We
like,
don't need the teenage story. The teenage story is
yeah.
what it is.
Like, I don't know. Even if they age it up, I don't know. It's just,
There's a lot of questionable
yeah.
things
It's.
in there.
I also like if I think wonder. I wonder if that's the like shortest run time out of all of them, but it just felt long because it's like,
That whole scene, I was
okay.
just like, I I usually multitask when I watch movies. That's just how I am. But in that one, I could hear the audio and I was just like, it's not over yet.
Oh no no no. I will say like, this is what I wrote. And it's like I know this is supposed to look like a sexy time, but all I can think about is how their feet are right next to those giant candles.
Danger.
Yeah, I'm like they're gonna set themselves on fire. But anyway, let's move on.
So were you rooting for anyone to make it to the end of the movie?
I was rooting for um Scott. I did, like, even though I don't agree with how he reacted to everything, like I was kind of hoping but he didn't. Like I didn't
I
have,
think he needed time, right? He
yeah,
didn't get enough time. Like he should have sought help in the year if he really didn't go see any
yes,
doctors and he wasn't like sent to any doctors.
yeah,
But you could tell like the actor did a good job of being like, I'm just so tired.
mm-hmm,
I can't handle one more issue. And then the son becomes an issue and he's like, I don't know what to do because
yeah,
like he's doing bad things and you won't let me tell him to stop because he gets stabbed in the hand. He wakes
yeah,
up and like Christmas stuff is like ruined.
mm-hmm. I will say like the changeling story is the like another one that I would like to see more of, and I think it would have been interesting if it wasn't just like a course of a couple hours, like if it was like a couple days
Yeah,
or
like
like a
the
week.
changeling reveals itself much slower
Yeah,
instead of it just being
which
kind
like
of like overnight.
it's just the nature of the event, but it's like some of that stuff I think would have been like, I don't think the timing in there, I thought it was done very well, but it's like I think some of the stuff would have had a little bit more effect. But yeah, Scott, he was one. Same, like I don't know, both Scott and Kim, like that couple. I was like, I like this couple. They obviously have their problems, but it's just like I would like to see them
See
make
what
it.
they yeah, see where they were.
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked Scott and Kim. Um Will did nothing wrong, so I was happy that Will made it back
yeah,
home with his family. I didn't care about the teenagers. I didn't care
yeah.
about the rich family.
Teenagers and rich family did it to themselves.
I didn't care about the radio host. On one hand, I am curious what Norman's backstory on hating Christmas is, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I should empathize with him or not.
Yeah, it's like it's just like one of those things like we don't know, and it's like it's just one of those things we don't have time to know. So,
Yeah.
but
But yeah.
yeah, no, they're them. They're they were they're just a couple trying their best, and the supernatural got in the way.
Would you consider this more a Christmas or a Halloween movie?
I would say this is Christmas. Like
It is a
all
Christmas
these,
movie, but it has good uses of like
yes,
horror elements.
yeah. This is not a Christmas movie that comes out on the first week of December, the first weekend, because I think I mentioned this in another episode, but it's like for some reason the first week in December they like 9 times out of 10 will release a Christmas themed horror movie, and 9 times out of 10 it is terrible because they're just like we wanted this movie wouldn't fly in October, so we'll stream it like Christmas and everyone will be okay. And
Christmas.
yeah, so but no, this I think this is well done. Like I also think the fact of it being an anthology also really helps some of the parts that, like as we said, we weren't big fans of, but
Yeah.
it was also very confusing of what was going on.
Trying to connect that thread. But
Yeah.
do you think the movie could have taken place without it being during Christmas? Nope.
No. No.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yep.
Does
All
this meet your
Christmas lore and everything. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, does this meet your criteria for a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
Yes. Because it
Yeah.
has decorations, music, Santa
It does
Claus,
have Santa. Yeah.
and morals.
Mm-hmm.
I may not agree with all the morals, but it has Christmas morals.
Yeah. I was about to make a joke, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna stop there.
Look, all I know is if there's a no trespassing sign, trust it.
Yeah.
Especially if I have a child.
Mm-hmm. And
That
no
my other
doesn't mean
Christmas
murder your friends.
My other Christmas moral was maybe I'm not patient enough for a kid.
Flashback to last episode, or the last one we recorded. Bunny, you better not eat my purse.
And then final question, overall rating.
Um,
Like I said, this is like me reading a short story collection. Like
yeah.
it's hard for me to give it just one rating because they're not equal.
Yeah, would I watch this again? I would watch this again with a group of friends. I am comfortable putting this at um like between a 6 or a 7.
I was like a 6.
Yeah, like I was like
So
a
we can
high
do
6.
6.5.
Yeah. I was thinking high 6. So, cuz it's like it doesn't break any grounds, and it's like I don't know. I don't know if I would have been blown away. I don't think my opinions would have changed if I knew it was an anthology. So,
Yeah.
but no, but I did enjoy my time. Like what did you send me? Like I don't. Oh wait, I'm not in our Discord. What I want to say? It's like I don't know how to feel, and it's like from there I'm like, oh no. I'm like, okay, time for time, and I don't know.
It like it was very much the I don't know how to feel, not because it was good or bad. It was just like I don't I don't know.
Yeah, like I do think it would like I don't. There could be a way for them all to connect, but just the way the story like of it not being like a real supernatural event like kind of kills a lot of the connections.
Yeah, and I think honestly, if the movie was clever enough to connect everything without me being able to find the connection, like then I think I would have given it like an 8 or 9
Mm-hmm.
because the writing would have subverted a lot of expectations. But the writing kind of subverted expectations like the opposite way, where I was like it felt like a lot of buildup and I was excited to see where it went, and then it just was like and we hit the brakes. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's
okay.
because like I think I said in the beginning of this episode, but it's like I looked and I saw that I had like 20 minutes left in the movie, and I'm like, that's not enough time to like connect all the dots.
Mm-hmm.
If this is all connected, like, but at the same time, like all the, like, because when you're, oh, my brother's calling me, and calling back. in there, it's like it's so segmented and like in different parts of like the literal world. It's like it like I remember when Krampus showed up after we see that when he turns, it's like that doesn't make sense. Like Krampus now has like instant transmission. Um, very confusing, but it's like no, overall, it be what it be.
Yeah, like I my biggest problems with this, I would say, would be the points of one of the stories in particular.
Hmm.
Like if that story wasn't in there, the teenager story, and this was like an hour-long film, then I think I would give it a little bit more like of a rating, like a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And then just like the way that it felt like a lot of build-up that wasn't satisfying in the end
Hmm.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that
So
I don't recommend it. It's just go in knowing to just like there's short
you're gonna get some
stories.
message. Yeah, short stories. There's short stories, and some people want something, want to share something. But anyway, that is it. Next
Longer
week,
episode.
yeah,
Was
uh,
In an Apocalypse this long too? I disappeared, so I can't say for sure.
maybe you left the for anything about the end of the apocalypse episode is that Hop was definitely the grounding like the grounding wire for that, and then left two people that jump from topics very easily to the point where I'm like, I don't even remember how that episode ends, to be perfectly honest. But it
Surprise!
did.
Merry Christmas!
Yeah. I gotta edit that. Well, I don't have to edit it soon. I got a whole month. But but anyway, that is fun. And then next episode is our penultimate. I think that's the right word. Episode.
The one
Uh
that you're the most excited for.
yes. I've been talking about Santa Jaws since we watched Sharktopus, the Sharktopus stuff. I miss Sharktopus. I,
I love Sharktopus.
yeah.
That was my suggestion. I love Sharktopus.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I know some people are like, "Are you gonna watch Sharknado?" I'm like, no, no, I don't want to. My mom loved Sharknado, but anyway, we're watching Santa Jaws, and we have a special guest, System Chalk. He is coming back, which will be fun because I think I did tell him, yeah, we picked this movie for you.
And if anyone's wondering why we did that, he has worked in the film industry.
And we'll see how high his praises sing after watching this. So anyway, thank you everyone. Y'all have I almost said a good night, but thank you for listening. Do review stuff if you're able, or share with a friend or an enemy. But until next time, we'll talk to you later. Peace.